Hello everybody, my name is Jeremy, this is Red Means Recording, and today I want to talk to you about drums. I've been asked by Alchemy to show off Triaz, which is this cool Kontakt instrument, works in Kontakt Proper or Kontakt Player, and I thought it'd be a cool opportunity to talk about how to make certain types of beats, what some hallmarks of certain types of beats are, and of course, show off Triaz, because, you know, that's what I'm being paid to do. So what are beats? What are drums? Well, drums are like, you know, they're like percussion. And oh my goodness, there's so many different kinds. And we need to pick a starting point here. I think our starting point will be slow and we'll work our way up in tempo. So let's get our tempo down to, I don't know, 84. Nah, let's do 80. And let's make a little lo-fi hip-hop beat. And then we'll move up from there. We want to have sort of a broken beat, meaning that we don't have the kick on every quarter note like this. This would be like a house beat, and we're going to get there, but I'm going to show you what like breaking a beat looks like. So let's go over to the sequencer and hit play. So there's an 808 on every single quarter note. This is called a backbeat. A backbeat is our little snare. It could be a clap if we want. Heck, it could even be perk if we want. Every single type of backbeat is valid, and it all depends on what kind of track you want to make. So for this type of beat, though, we need to break our beat, meaning that we need the kick to hit in a different pattern. Hey, Future Jeremy here. I am using the term break beat wrong. I mean, technically, most break beats do have this non-4 on the floor kick, but a break beat actually refers to the part of a track where the drummer just kind of gets to do their little, do a little jam. They get to just do some fun, and that's usually what people back in the day would like loop for breakdancers and stuff like that. That's where that comes from. It's not exactly just a beat with no 4 on the floor, but that's kind of how I use the term. So that's all from Future Jeremy. Goodbye. Creating groove in a drum pattern is about making sure that you have strong and then weak events in your pattern. And our strong events in this case are our kick and our snare. So let's get some better sounds. We have this big old 808. If we go into the browser here, we can pick up all kinds of sounds. And what we have over here on the left is our drum type. You can see we have kick electronic, kick acoustic, and then a whole bunch of other ones. And then we have different types. So I'm going to go to lo-fi, and I'm going to pick something. I like that one. Let's go over to our snare and get a lo-fi snare. Same deal. Go into our browser here, and we're going to pick snare electronic, lo-fi, and pick a drum. I like that Kraken one. That's good. Your sound selection is extremely important when it comes to making your drums sound correct. And the cool thing about Triaz is that, as you saw, we have this big sound browser here. All these samples come with it. So it allows you to sort of think about the nomenclature of what different samples are and get a sense of the qualities that these samples have, which is really, really important when thinking about how to make like genre-specific beats, which is what we want to do. Okay, so we have a kick and a snare. Let's get like a hi-hat going on in there. We'll go over to our hi-hat here, go back to the sequencer. And what we could do is fill in every single one of these 16th notes. But that's not really a good lo-fi thing. We want to create sort of a woozy push-pull beat. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to turn off these link things down here. We now have control to change the speed of each sequencer lane. And we also can change the length. So what I'm going to do here is go in and give myself 2 quarter notes. Actually, we'll do 8th notes. And what we're going to do is change the timing on these. So I'm going to go into start, and now we can push-pull these. Actually, I want this one gone, and I want this one, the second one, to happen a little early. We're trying to create a little bit of wooziness. We can actually increase that by turning up slop over here. We're also going to want a little swing, which is going to push the 2nd and 4th event in these sequencers, usually the 16th note, a little off grid. Now, we don't want swing on our 8th note. So if we go into swing here and press this little button, we can turn it off for different channels, which is something that I asked for when I was working with this, because otherwise the swing applies to every channel despite its quantization value. So we're going to turn off our swing for our 8th note hi-hat. Let's go into our sound for our hi-hat and pick something that's a little more lo-fi. Oop. How about that one? I'm going to add a second backbeat, and we're going to have it push-pull off our snare. And I'll show you what I mean by push-pull in just a second. I want clap and step. I want lo-fi. Ooh, that one's good. Goopy. Gloopy. Let's go back to our sequencer. And what we're going to do is change this start time to go like a little early. We want our claps to be a little early. Maybe this one be a little late. Just make it really woozy. See how it's like kind of organic and pushing and pulling? That's what we're looking for here. Okay, so that snare sounds pretty good, but one of the cool things we can do is actually layer, and that's where the Triaz part comes from. You see we got this little triangle in here. So this thing right here will choose between 3 different samples that you can load in, and that's selected over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this over here between A and B, and I'm going to go into here, and I'm going to pick something from like the Foley, which is like, here, if I go like this, you'll hear it. So what I'm looking for here is some kind of cool layer, like that glass bead sound. I like that. Now you can hear we got the glass beads in there mixed with our snare. Now, one thing I like to do, and we can do this in Ableton as well when we build our drum racks, but it's all built into here, is squish these together with a compressor. So I'm going to hit this channel effects button here and go into the comp, and I'm going to look at my gain reduction here and see that I have a little bit of gain reduction. So I can turn this up a bit as we squish these together. I want more vinyl sound in here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go over to this Foley layer. Any one of these can be anything. Like you could make this all percussion and all Foley if you want. It just says at the top of the thing here what it currently has for its first layer. So what we want is noise. Let's see, where do we got noise? Tape and vinyl. Ooh, big wax is good. Let's do big wax on layer A. I liked the water vinyl. So let's mix those two. I'm going to turn off the linking here for these. So if you have link on, anything you do down here in this area will be linked between all 3, which can be really useful. But in this case, what I want to do is I want to go into B and I want to reverse it. So we're going to hit reverse and let's go into our sequencer and add some stuff to our layer. I'm going to go to note and I'm going to go boop, 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 boop. Let's see how that sounds. That's perfect. Do you hear how this layer gives us a strong beat, and then this one sucks in? That's perfect. What a cool vibe. It sounds like a compressor, right? Speaking of compressors, one of the things I like to do is go into the master effects and turn on this comp. You can see we got a lot of compression already. I'm going to turn down the threshold, turn up the threshold so we don't compress so much. And then I'm going to turn up the makeup gain. I want this big and present. We have a limiter built into the final stage here, so it's going to squish that beat regardless, which is great. We can also add some tape. I like a little touch of that. And then maybe some of that heat. You can actually add an entire noise level here. You can hear we got a little vinyl crackle if you just want to add that in the background. Can you hear it? It's very quiet. Let's go add a lo-fi open hi-hat. I like to add this in conjunction with my closed. That open hippie is a real classic sounding one. So let's go back into our sequencer. And we're going to add this over here. I'm also going to widen this. So if we go into the, where is it? Channel effects. Over here on Shaper, we can actually widen all of our sounds. And I really like to do this. I like my drums to be big and wide and present in some cases. So we'll just widen this up like this. Now you can hear it hits in the left and right spectrum in a really cool way. It's fun to take your high events and push them out to the side. All right, let's add a little bit more Foley. You can hear we already have a beat that actually sounds pretty good. We don't really need to do a ton more with it, but we're gonna add a couple more Foley layers. But before that, let me show you how we can put a crash in here. If I go into my crash layer, first of all, you need to change this sound because it is not my favorite. That's kind of cool. Let's use the soft one. Very characterful. We'll also make this stereo. We can click up here to hear it. Kind of like a chime, right? Now, because this particular lane is currently in 16th notes, it's going to repeat every 32 steps, which is not really appropriate for a crash. I like my crashes to hit at the end of like every 4 bars. So what I want to do first of all is turn the swing off for this, and then we're going to listen to it once through here, and then I'm going to change the timing. Much too soon, right? I want my drums to have a phrase to them. So I'm going to change this to 1, 4, quarter note. So now each step is a quarter note. Oh, actually, no, I think we're going to go to 8th. That's really long. There we go. Okay, let's do the same thing with our ride layer here, but we're going to use this for toms, and we're going to make a little tom fill. Kind of like this big Lexi one. This one. This is kind of neat. It's very dry, which is what I'm looking for. I don't want this to have that big-ass decay, so what I'm going to do here is turn this down a bit, and we can preview that. Now it's a lot sharper, right? Okay, if we go into our sequencer, and I put toms here at the end, like that, you can see that I have the ability to push these up and down in a little like vertical line. That's actually velocity. Right now, nothing we have has velocity on it. So let's go ahead and turn velocity on. You do that right here, and you can choose how much you want. Let's put it all the way up. Actually, I kind of like that on 16th notes. Let's put one right here too. Right on the offbeat, right there. See how I'm creating these little events that are going through here, like these toms? We're actually going to back that up now with another sound right here. Let's go into our Foley layer. Yeah. Let's go to our sequencer and make sure it's actually working. Wonderful. Let's make that lower in pitch. It's a little too chipmunky right now. We'll turn this down in our pitch. And let's add some reverb to this. So in our mixer here, we have send effects. So you can see these down here. It's like a pretty classic mixer technique where you have the sends. We have a delay, which can be ping pong and sort of have some tape saturation to it. And we have reverbs. We have a convolution reverb and we have an algorithmic reverb. So let's find our sound and let's turn up reverb A first. And adds that bit of echo. Pretty nice. Let's turn up our delay as well. I'm going to take this delay and I'm going to make it a 16th note like this. And I'm going to make this low pass filter go down and turn up the saturation. So we're going to get sort of a tape sounding delay. Ping pong off so it doesn't go left and right. Dope. Turn down the amount. Cool. So now it's kind of got that like space echo sounds to it. Let's finish up this particular beat with a little bit of extra percussion. All right, we can get rid of some of these. That's kind of cool. We'll put that in there. So we're going to go back into our sequencer and put that here. And we're going to blow this out with the other reverb. So let's go and click this button here. Now it says reverb B. We're also going to give it some delay. And let's go into our channel effects or send effects here and play around with our convolution reverb. Wow, that sounds like ass. You can see we've got all these IRs, which are impulse responses. These are little bursts of either sine waves or white noise that people put into a reverb space. And what they do is they record it and they capture it. And then they put them into this thing that can convolve it and create a reverb that sounds like the original space, which is neat. So now you can hear that we have a very blown out little sound here. Let's put this at the end as a little friend, as a little cool friend. I'll go ahead and save this because it's not terrible. I made a bunch of presets for this, by the way. I think I made 10 at the time of this recording. I might make some more, I'm not sure. So yeah, you'll have some of my beats up in here. That classic sort of like Disclosure deep house sound. Very classic house beat. You can hear this little womb sound here that I included in my beat. Beats don't just have to be kick snares and hi-hats and stuff like that. They can also include these sort of effect sounds. So I really, really strongly believe in creating phrasing from your drums. Create a strong drum beat that has like a good vibe to it, a good identity. I'm making good use of chants in here. Our shaker, our toms, all kinds of stuff. And you can hear that our tom up here actually kind of acts like a tonal instrument. So you can add a lot of bass groove to your track just in your drums. What's giving this that cool galloping feel, which is a part of a lot of different types of music, is swing. So let's reset this swing down to 0 and hear what this sounds like without it. Nowhere near as fun. Much better with swing. So this is sort of a different version of that lo-fi beat we made. When you get up to like 130, 140, hell, even 120 BPM, you can start pretending that you're at halftime by putting your snare on a different beat. So this clap is on our classic bat beat that we used before, but our snare is going at halftime. So let's listen to what this sounds like with the snare back on the classic back beat, and then we'll move it back to where we just had it. You get much more of that sort of burial, dark dubstep, dark future garage kind of feel. I really, really like this. So once you get up to like 120, 130, somewhere around there, try half-timing your beats. It can be really, really fun. So this was inspired by like classic sort of electro beats. We are at 135 BPM, which is kind of fast for electronic music. I mean, nowhere near jungle or anything like that. But we got this broken beat again. You can see we're not hitting on the 4 on the floor. If we were to change this to 4 on the floor, let's just take a listen to what that sounds like real quick so you can kind of hear the difference. So I'll just put our kick on every quarter note and let's listen to hear what, let's hear what this sounds like with the kick there. Not bad, I'm not gonna lie. But very different than with a break beat. All this space we've created in between here is what gives the beat energy. We've got strong events and we've got weak events, and we switch back and forth between them to create power, but also movement and interest in the beat. 90. Ooh, I think this one's a spooky one. Yeah. So a lot of distortion. I think I'm doing a fair amount of layering on this too. Ooh, that 808 hi-hat is living its best life. So I actually may have 2 of these. Different pitches, different effects. Gigantic sub. This crazy little reverse sound, and then a reverse crash. You can hear the repeat function ratcheting those hi-hats. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Let's go to a knit patch, and I'm going to show you a fun thing that we can do in here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change these all to Foley sounds. So one of the cool things in our friend here, in our sequencer, are these dice things. If I click this, I will get little generated patterns in any of the sequencer lanes that I'm currently in. So let's do chants for each one of these, which will instill a random chants amount for the whole thing. The point here being that we can use this to generate, especially with all the percussion sounds in here, we can use this to generate top layers, which is really, really fun. Top layers are a really important part of my drum experience, and I have a couple plugins I really, really like for it. But this one, especially with the built-in samples and the controls for each sound, offers a unique way of creating like interesting top sounds. Now you're ready to slink through the jungle and under chairs and be a weirdo. All right, do we have time for one more beat? Let me show you how to do like sort of a chill step beat. We'll use repeats and stuff. And that'll be it. Hopefully this has been fun for you. I know it's kind of like, you know, if you're not into drums, this probably isn't super interesting, but I really like drums. Okay, BRB. Bam. Okay, chill step. We're gonna wanna go up to like 130 BPM. First of all, let's get our pattern. So we're gonna use that half step thing that we did earlier. We'll go ahead and adjust our sounds in a bit. Let's go ahead and put some hi-hats in. One of the things that's built into here is something called a choke group. And what that is certain sounds will cut each other off. And in this case, our closed hi-hat and our open hi-hat will cut each other off, which is how a real hi-hat works. We're gonna use the ratchets to go into the strong beat. We're going to go to hi-hat closed. You can see 808 is over here. So we're looking for, that's a pretty good one. A little tiny 808. I don't want this to be too big. I want it to be pretty small. You may come back and adjust that. I'm going to put a little bit of stereo on it. That's good. Now this 808's actually pretty good too already. We may leave that there. Let's go into our Perk Electric though and add a smaller kick, like a more tight pump kick. Hear that? It's basically a transient. Now, what I like to do as well is I like to have like a little reverse accent going into my second snare. So we're going to go into clap and snap, and we're going to find, that's a great 808 clap. Let's do that. Let's hit reverse, and what we're going to do is change this to eighth notes. Perfect. Now, what I'm going to do on this one is we're going to give a reverbed accent on that second snare. Actually, I'm going to have that accent this one. And I want something a bit brighter, I think. Ooh, that one's really nice. Yeah, really cool. So I really, really strongly believe in creating phrases with my drums. I want my drums to have a life in them. I want my drums to have a sort of like an automatic sort of phrasing to them. And that's what we're getting here. So what else could we do to this? We first of all probably want to crash on every eighth note. Let's go ahead and pick a sound for this. We're not going to use a normal crash. We're going to go into our sound and let's go to noise. Classic white noise splash on this. Yeah, that works really well. I am going to change this to 1/4 note, and let's go ahead and get a final reverse on this thing down here. We're going to use another noise sound, so crash, noise. Perfect. All right, let's scoot this to the end. So all right, let's go back into our sound. Let's go to our master effect. Let's pump this up a bit. Before. Gives a nice urgency to everything that I really, really like. That's kind of cool. And one thing I also like to do is add just a tiny bit of tone to this. That will work. Let's blow this out with some reverb. So mixer, Perk Electronic, Reverb A. here that we have sounds like a 4-bar phrase. Let's count that out and I'll explain what I mean as our final little talk about this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4. So if you're counting at 130 BPM, we have an 8-bar phrase. I'm usually writing in chunks of 8-bar phrases. So like this gives me the opportunity to build that kind of power in that kind of like phrasing into my drums in a easy to sort of like digest package, which is really, really cool. I cannot stress this enough. You should always have phrasing to your drums. There's very little cases in which a drummer would just hit the same thing every single time. Creating strong beats and then filling them in with filigree, hi-hats, percussion, and then creating these one-off events to give some character to your drums is really, really important to me. So that's what we have going on. This is Triaz from Wave Alchemy. I believe it's made up of people that used to be in Sample Magic, who I have worked with before. I have a bunch of samples from them. I've even used their samples in a bunch of stuff, like my YouTube audio library. I've used them in OP1 videos. Pretty great collection of samples that you get with this. Hi, it's Future Jeremy again. I've been showing you all of this stuff using the internal sample library, and I completely forgot that you can use your own samples. So here's a little demo of some internal samples doing the drum beat, and then me using a whole bunch of like bass hits and random like synth hits in here for my custom library. It's as simple as dragging a custom sample directly into the little interface where you see the waveform from the sample. And it just works.
One, two. 1, 2. 1, 2.
So the classification system here is really nice. I know that we can sometimes get sample fatigue, right? You got all these samples. I mean, God knows I do. If I go into my samples here, I have tons that I've done my best to organize, but they're all over the place. And so this tagging system does give you a quick, easy way to look into different types of samples, start to recognize what different types of sounds maybe are, like lo-fi or punchy or something like that, which is always really, really useful. Obviously, we can see the different types of drums up here. This is also really, really useful to understand as a producer because I think we forget that there are names for everything that we've heard. And sometimes we forget that like, oh yeah, like this tom could sound like this. And they even have like ones by Drum Machine, so you can get some of those classic sounds. The sample library in this is really good, no joke. Hopefully that's come across in the video that I've made here. And the sequencer is pretty fun. Like I said, there's a few things that I'd love to see in here, but overall I've been having a blast with it. I made the 10 presets. I may do a little bit more. If you're looking for something that gives you the ability to layer, which is a really, really useful part of creating cool drum sounds, and a sequencer that is bordering on the Electron sequencer, not quite there yet, but it could be. And effects, and I mean, I really like the comp and shaper here. Things are getting pretty pro sounding just with that, which I really like. So I'm a fan. I think this is a cool Kontakt instrument. Again, it's available for Kontakt Player 2. Check the link in the description if you want to pick up Triaz. I was working with the producer of this, Wave Alchemy, to have a promo code. Fun story. I actually wrote them an email asking if they wanted to do a promo code for y'all, and I accidentally said porno code. So that's pretty funny. I said porno instead of a promo. We had a good laugh. So check the video description for maybe a link to Triaz with a promo code or a porno code if that's what you want. And thanks for watching. My name is Jeremy. This is Red Beans Recording, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Can I kick it? Can I kick it? Can I kick it? Can I kick it? Well, I'm gone. Can I kick it? To all the people who can dress like a tribe does. Before this, did you really know where I was? Comprehend to the track force, why? Cause getting mentions on the tip of the rock and roll to the beat of the funk fuzz. Wipe your feet really good on the rhythm rug. If you feel the urge to freak, do the jitterbug. Come and spread your arms if they really need a hug. Afrocentric living is a big shrug. I like filled with, that's what I love. A lower plateau is what we're above. If you diss us, we won't even think of. We'll nip of a tongue and give a big shove. This rhythm really fits like a slug glove. Like a box of positives, it's a plus love. As the tribe flies high like a dove.